What's going on, guys? So we're back yet again, and I want to talk about the second Mommy movie, the Mommy 2, or the Mommy Returns, however you guys want to describe it as. And what we have is Brendan Fraser returns, we have Rachel Weisz returning, we have many others returning, and some years have passed since the very end of the first film. They have a son now by the name of Alex O'Connell, and they live in England. They've become very, very rich, and they became very known in England because, again, of all the money that they were able to sell because of all the artifacts that they were able to get in the first one, and among others, expeditions that they've gone on. And when Evie and Rick come home, they don't realize that they found the bracelet of Anubis, which was um, worn by the Scorpion King, who made a deal with Anubis to raise an army to take over his enemies, and it was played by Dwayne Johnson. And Alex puts on the bracelet, not knowing that's going to be on until he gets to the pyramid, or not the pyramid, but the location that they have to be in. And they also don't realize in the darkness where these loyalists of Imhotep and the reincarnation descendant of Moon is trying to raise him and find him by finding him the Book of the Dead, and also trying to get the bracelet of Anubis so that way they can go on this journey and Imhotep can be able to fight off the Scorpion King and take over the army and rule the world. That's basically what the story is about. So they go to Evie and Rick's home, they kidnap Evie and they take her, and Imhotep is raised. Rick, Ardith, Alex, and Jonathan are able to save her, but in the process, Alex gets kidnapped. And then once that happens, Alex is charged to show them the way to um, where this army is going to be at and where Imhotep can fight off the Scorpion King. And Rick and Evie, along with Jonathan, Ardith, who is also working with the Magi to raise an army just in case if the army of Anubis does arise along with this, so that way they can fight it off and protect the world. Now, during the process of this, Evie's dealing with visions because she's remembering a past life she had of being Nefertiti, who is the daughter of the pharaoh during Imhotep and Anxumun's time frame. And she always fought and had this rivalry against Anxumun, and it still went on, I guess, into this life because later on, after going through the jungles, the deserts, water, among everything else, by trying to get their son back, and you see a lot of different things between Rick and Evie because obviously they're wanting their son back, they're grieving because they want him back. They're like, oh, are we going to get him? Are we ever going to find him? And when they finally do, and Rick does everything to get his son to the temple before he loses his life because the bracelet was draining him. He's able to save him, but as soon as that happens, his wife gets stabbed by Noxulamun. And I'm gonna say this right now: the amount of grief that goes through this man is absolutely astounding performance by Brendan Fraser because you see that rage, you see that animal of like, okay, I'm gonna take out this fool who killed my wife, who is responsible for my wife's death. And now being a married man, I fully understand that because you see that, you see the grief, you see the rage, you see the anger, you see the despair. There is, I would do the same thing. And he fights off Imhotep, but Alex realizes with the book and the help of his uncle, I can bring back mom. So he is able to somehow bring his mom back from the dead. And when he does that, which shocks me into every way saying this, brings her back, but she somehow becomes one with her past self and her now self because she's able to have this fight with Moon, and she's able to whoop her ass not only from the old ways, as she says, because one of my favorite scenes is when they're fighting and she talks to her in Egyptian and she says, so you remember the old ways, and she knocks her in the head. She says that's a little something new, and I love the way she did this. It was such a magnificent performance, the choreography, the one liners, everything of that nature, and Rick realizing that he was a descendant of Magi as well because of a tattoo he had that he was meant to take out the Scorpion King. So between the fight between him and Imhotep, they have to take on the Scorpion King, which Rick is able to do, and they're able to save everything, and so on and so forth. So again, just a little quick recap of that movie. I love this movie. I think this movie goes down in the records of being as good as as the original, because sometimes again when you see a film, when you see a film it's always not as good as the original, and we all know that. Sometimes the original is better, sometimes the sequel is better than the original. But I think these two, honestly, are on par with one another because not only between the acting, the characters, the story, and they're able just to do such a great job at being able to tell a story, character progression, drama, action, one-liners, everything, and be able just to give a magnificent performance. And I can't give this movie enough credit than what I can say right now. So I love this movie. I remember seeing it in theaters when it first came out. I remember owning it on VHS. I remember owning it on DVD, and I still do. So I highly recommend to anyone that has not seen this film to heavily watch this film. You will not regret it. It has everything I think everyone would like, from comedy to history to character progression, good characters, good action, good adventure, good thriller, good lore too for this franchise, and among many other things. So if you guys have never seen this, definitely check it out. You won't regret it. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments, and hopefully you enjoy it. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.